Sometimes in web design and web development, you need to use icons. And in the past, what you'd normally do is open up Photoshop, design the icon, export it in the multiple formats and sizes that you need for responsive, for mobile devices, for desktops, Retina, all this sort of stuff. So you need to do a lot of tedious work just to create a plus sign or like a music sign or a cog for your user interface or a download it icon or a user icon, something like that. And it's tedious. And if you're not a good designer or you don't know the ins and outs of creating a beautiful icon, then you need to find icons elsewhere. And there are icons that you can download from other designers. You can purchase premium design elements from places like creativemarket.com. But sometimes you just don't want to pay for icons. And you can't just snatch them off of Google's search engine. So where does that leave you? Well, what's great about Bootstrap is that they provide you over 250 glyph icons, which are from the font format or from Glyphicon halflings, which is another website that you have to actually buy these icons that you can use for designs and for your websites. But they have a little partnership or an agreement with Bootstrap that lets you use them free of cost with your copy of Bootstrap. And so basically you can use these free of cost. You don't need to include a link back to them, but if you want, you can totally do that. And so basically a glyph icon is a font icon. So these icons that are here in Bootstrap are all fonts, meaning instead of the letter T or an asterisk symbol or anything like that, Helvetica or Comic Sans, you're actually using glyph icon font. And these are real fonts, meaning they're vectors, meaning they can scale infinitely up or down to any size, and you don't need to export images from Photoshop. You don't need to create sprites because they're fonts, meaning you can resize them. You could change the color. You can add backgrounds. You can add hover effects. You could do anything and everything under the moon with CSS when it comes to font icons. That's how amazing this is. On top of the fact that there's over 250 glyphs that you can choose from. And so basically there's a glyph icon for almost any user case you can think of. And so here we are. Bootstrap, getbootstrap.com components, glyph icons. And so basically they are here and you can go through and check them out and see, you're probably already thinking of the different user cases that you can use these for in your user interface design and your web development. And so how do you use these? Well, glyphicons.html, I've created that file. It's basically just a plain file as usual, but I do recommend just downloading it from your final course files folder. And in here, I'm just going to show you some user case examples that I have already set up here. So icons that are actual real life fonts means no photoshopping required. So you can see here we have an icon in a header. There's an icon, a little trash can icon here and a paragraph tag. You can also link icons. So this is actually a link that links to the homepage of this directory. You can use icons in alert messages or for user interface design like this play, pause, and stop button toolbar I have here. Now I'm going to resize the font here in my browser and you can see they scale infinitely. So I'm going up huge here and look at these icons. They're not blurry because they're not bitmap graphics. They're fonts. So they scale infinitely just like text because the browser basically sees it as text. And so that means you can have a crystal clear, beautiful design in the browser without having to use Photoshop. And the less that you can use Photoshop in web development, in my opinion, the better, because it's just less time going back and forth and less file size for your website for the user to download. And so I'll show you the source here just so you can see how it works, how you use these glyph icons so you can get started right away. Basically, the syntax is just a span tag, empty span tag, with the class of glyph icon and then space glyph icon dash whatever icon you're looking for. Now, basically, for you to know what to put here, you just need to go to the getbootstrap.com website and they give you the classes right here. So for easy access, all you have to do is just copy the text here and you could just go ahead and paste it wherever you want. So let's just add another icon here at the very top. I'm just going to put a paragraph tag, span. I'm going to give it the class of, well, I'm going to hit paste. And there we go. Glyph icon, circle, arrow, right. Let's see what that looks like in our demo here. And there we go. We have a glyph icon, circle, arrow, right. And you could change the font size. You could change the color. You could literally do anything. In CSS, you just access your glyph icon, the specific one, or you could give it an ID, or you can give the element an ID, or if you're styling an H3, it's going to fall down into its descendant here, or its child, because it's an element of the H3. And so just play around with CSS and try out some icons. And if you're already working on a site, you've already started designing a site, feel free to use some icons that you'll be using here in Bootstrap so that we could play around with those in the future. So have fun. See you in the next lecture.